Tell us from your personal experience, what have you seen at the border and how bad is the crisis?
It's actually worse than I thought. We went down to, we were in the Donna holding facility near McAllen 2 weeks ago, and this facility was supposed to hold 250 people, and it at the time had 3,700 unaccompanied minors, and they had these pods for the children, and they were supposed to hold they were supposed to hold 32 people. They were holding 500. Nobody had been tested for COVID. It was an incubator. It was a super spreader incubator. And you know what it is? To quote Dr. Seuss, it was disorder at the border by executive order, and it was a humanitarian catastrophe.
You know, Vice President Kamala Harris has been traveling all across the country. We can show folks a portion of her journey to Concord and Plymouth, New Hampshire, nowhere near the southern border. And that's nearly a month after being tapped as Biden's border czar, at least when you ask some folks. In fact, Vice President Harris's current travels are more than 2,200 miles away from the border. How important do you think it is that the vice president get herself down there if, in fact, she's supposed to be in charge of it? And should President Biden head down there as well?
Yeah, and it's absolutely vital. 2,200 miles away. I mean, this is disgusting. And she was then blaming the border crisis on everything but the actual root causes. She was blaming it on storms and drought and bad soil and climate change. And yeah, she heard about one thing. It's climate change, all right, but at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. We just had the sheriff of Franklin County call our office yesterday. They caught 14 migrants, and Homeland Security told them just let them go, even though one of them admitted to a bank robbery in Peru and 10 years in jail in Costa Rica because Homeland Security said they were under orders by this administration to just catch and release. We need to reinstitute Trump policies of finishing the border wall, reinstituting deportations, and the migrant protection protocols, which was the wait in Mexico policy. We right now have an open border, and an open border is an immoral one.
But go back to what you were just saying, because that's shocking to anyone that's watching right now. Let them go. Let them go where? We did have this video. I can show it as you answer that question. Congressman Andy Biggs had something similar from Arizona. He shared these pictures of illegal aliens with us this past week. They were housed in hotels, apparently, and then they were moved to an airport. We don't know where they were sent within the country, but we also know that the cost of the hotels is more than $89 million as they, thousands of homeless Americans, many war veterans, they're sleeping on the streets. But going back to what you were discussing, where are these people that are a detriment to national security that are documented? Where did they send them? Where did they go?
Well, Heather, here's the dirty secret that the Biden administration doesn't want the American people to know. The Biden administration is now the largest human smuggling operation in the world. Because what's happening is these people, for instance, the last 14 that just were caught in Franklin County, they didn't have any money. They're from Guatemala, El Salvador, and Honduras. They're working it off, and they're working for the cartels. And half of the folks that were caught in Franklin County yesterday were women, young women in their 20s. So how do you think they're going to work it off when they get to Baltimore, which is where they were supposed to go? The cartel tells these people what to say to law enforcement when they get caught. And then the American taxpayer, if you go down to McAllen, almost the entire airport will be full of these folks, these illegal migrants that don't have any ID, that haven't been tested for COVID, and then the federal government is flying them to where they say they have relatives or friends. This is an absolute travesty, and we are facilitating the drug cartel's profits. This is insane.
Yeah, I spoke with Congresswoman Kat Kamek a couple weeks ago, and she was talking about this loophole because we were seeing younger and younger children being taken across the border. You know, the video that everyone saw of this 2- and 3-year-old being thrown over a 14-foot wall, and then a little boy, a similar thing happened. That there's some loophole if they bring a child into the country that's under 6 years old, that then they can go further into the country with this child without any questions asked at all.
Yeah, and again, what's going to end up happening, I'll make a prediction that this is so bad now. We're talking about over 100,000 migrants a month, and there's an inexhaustible supply. These 3 small countries in Central America combined have 34.5 million people there, and so many of them that are trying to get out. And if word gets out that it's easy to come here and you're going to be taken care of when you get here, there's going to be more that come. And it's a very dangerous journey. About a third of the women that make that trek are raped or sexually assaulted along the journey. This is a humanitarian crisis, and we need to call it that.
Yeah,
And treat it as such.
Humanitarian crisis, national security crisis, to economic crisis, take your pick. It continues to grow. Congressman Fallon, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time.
Heather, thank you so much. God bless.